in the room specifically for React in JS. That's me when I looked a lot more stylish, leaning on the TensorFlow JS logo right there. This is what I look like now. Blame the pandemic, okay? So this used to say, with live code, but then I did give this talk last year here in Atlanta. I gave it for DevNexus, and I was coding in front of everybody. I said, do y'all just want me to go ahead and get to the solution and show you the code? And they're like, yes. Yeah, we don't want to watch you miss parentheses for an hour, so totally okay. I do not do well with live coding anyway. I'm way more interactive, way more focused on the audience. So, first off, let's go ahead and talk about who sent me here. I really got to thank this company, Infinite Red. I've been with them for, I don't know, 15,000 years. And we do React Native work. So bringing JavaScript to places where JavaScript shouldn't be. iOS, Android, Apple TV, and Windows apps. We love doing things in React Native, even including doing some AI stuff with React and React Native. So if you are confused on who to talk to about your React Native needs, this is the company. We also throw the React Native conference every year, and that'll be in Portland in 2023 in May. And so that's if you want an excuse to go to Portland, just say, hey, I know React, but I'd really love to build our mobile app. Send me to Portland, and then we will feed you beer. Perfect. So who the hell is this guy up here? That's a photo of me. I was unaware of that photo. That's just how they turn out most of the time. You can test that out by taking photos of me now. I am the CIO of Infinite Red now, React Native Core contributor. I'm a Google developer expert in both web and machine learning, which I think is a perfect intermix that allows me to come here and talk about React and AI combining together in a sense, right? You want to go ahead and you get that. You want to get from somebody who does a lot of web and machine learning. And then I am Gant Laborde on Twitter. And I'm also an O'Reilly author. Woohoo! So they actually thought that what I said was not stupid, so that was cool. They went ahead and they let me publish a book. So I am giving away 2 copies of the book. I have the book plus the notebook for the learner. And those of you who are going to be the wizard, I did make this custom, cool dusk skin crazy case for the book during my pleather days. So if anybody wants to win these, you can go ahead and just tweet at my handle, at Gant Laborde, some pictures of this presentation. You could say whatever you want. It could be good, bad, doesn't matter. If it's too bad, I won't be coming back to conferences anymore. But yeah, I will pick 2 people at the end of this talk. So please take photos, please tweet them. 2 of you who tweet some photos from this will receive copies of my book. Alrighty. Yeah, O'Reilly. So yeah, that's me and a book and a turtle. Cool. All right, so I have to get sort of a beat for the audience here. I have to find out how many of you are extremely new to AI and machine learning. Hands up. Good. That's perfect. That's actually the focus for my book. How many of you know more about machine learning than I do? My friend raises his hand. Good, good. So I've been doing it since 2017, and it has taken my whole brain. Okay, I saw that Silicon Valley episode, Hot Dog, Not Hot Dog. I was like, that's funny, but that's not real. And they're like, the code's real, and it's written in React Native. And I was like, oh, I have to read this code. I opened that code, and I went, I don't understand any of this. This is what I am now. This is what I do. And now I have like a bunch of certifications for it and everything like that. So it's a fantastic journey. It's really interesting. And my goal here is to do a couple things. One, to make this extremely approachable. If you talk to a bunch of people about machine learning and AI and stuff like that, you get a bunch of PhDs that block you from getting access to that kind of information. We like to go ahead and help you out in getting unblocked from that and saying like, this is really easy to do, hence why I'm gonna show you some code and show you it's very readable. So there's all kinds of applications. A lot of people raise their hand saying like, I'm relatively new to the concepts of machine learning and AI. It's used everywhere now. It is in everything. And it's used either wonderfully you know, where you pull out your phone, he's like, oh, let me type receipts. And you get a picture of all the receipts that you've ever had. Oh, isn't that nice? And then it's used terribly, where you go to upload a picture of a toaster to Facebook, and they're like, that is a dirty photo. And you're like, thanks, okay? So there's ways to do this right, and I think that this is where the scientists let go, and where us as UI, UX, and engineers, and people on the ground, and actually understanding product and business logic, this is where we pick up the ball and make it not suck, okay? So that's one of the things I think that we're seeing AI come down into the system here, and I think that that's where it's going to be the most valuable for you. So usually when you're trying to learn AI, this is usually the experience that you have here. You're like, oh yeah, this sounds great. Yeah, it's great. Come on, jump in. And then they just show you all this math all the way down. What a terrible, terrible moment that is. That's just not how to do it right. But it is great because once you understand it, you're like, I could be applying this everywhere, right? You know? So you have to go through this entire like terrible linear algebra year of your life, and then you start actually getting to apply things. But I don't think that that's how it should be, because this is actually a really fun thing. So you've got all these ways that people are applying it right now, and then I'm here talking about using it in React, I'm talking about using it in React Native, I'm talking about applying it inside of JavaScript, and us JavaScript people kind of know the reputation that we have amongst other programming languages, so people are like, okay, so why are you bringing this over to JavaScript? Well, just to make a simple case for that, is that JavaScript's not a toy language. We do get access to the GPU. We get to, through WebGL, that means that we can build super fast inferencing models directly inside of everybody's browsers and really limit the amount of cost that are going to a server. I went to this one website that's supposed to turn you into an anime character. I uploaded my photo, and they said, hey, too many people are using our service right now, so come back in an hour and upload again. And if they had just moved that process over to JavaScript, it would be my machine running it, and I wouldn't have to worry about anything. Especially, I wouldn't even have to worry about my photo and privacy, which is another concern that we all have, specifically that JavaScript generally solves. So you can get immediate feedback through JavaScript and invent very important applications, like those that are necessary for identifying who is and is not Nicolas Cage. This is a real app that I made on React Native for a talk, and I had a friend sit in the audience, and we found Nicolas Cage. He had the Declaration of Independence, and we did retrieve it. So the idea of actually having it in JavaScript, having it on the client side, is a great application of what we can really leverage. It lowers costs, it removes latency, and it gives you this immediate feedback loop. So the argument for putting these things on JavaScript is very reasonable. So when we get to practicality of how these things are going, there's a whole bunch, I just want to warn you, there's this whole set of frameworks out there for machine learning, and one of the most popular ones is on Google. It's called TensorFlow. Now TensorFlow is a back-end product, it's a back-end project there. And so what happens is with TensorFlow.js, we actually are removing it over to JavaScript and having it on the front end. So that's cool. All of your logic that you learn for TensorFlow, if you write it in Python, you can put it on a server. If you put it right in JavaScript, you can put it on a client. So that's a great application of using that for sure. And here's an application that we did for open source. Now, I'm not brave enough to do a live demo for this. Too bad. I got invited to a talk in Italy, and they thought I was going to do a live demo. No, I did not do a live demo. I'm not that brave. I know I would screw up and double-click a file, but what this is called Not Safe for Work.js. I do have Not Safe for Work.js stickers with me today. If you want a small Not Safe for Work.js sticker, yeah, I'll hook it. After we come on by, I'll get you this. So what happens is, the idea was simple. Train a giant data set on Reddit, because Reddit has channels that are clean and channels that are filthy, and you don't have to, and they're human curated, pulls down 40 gigabytes of data, and then running through that process creates this safe for work or not safe for work identifier. It actually has whether it can detect drawings, hentai, pornography, the things that people thought were sexy, and then just neutral images. And the great idea about this is we trained it, and then you work on it like at this time I was working on it in Python, and then converted the model over to JavaScript, and it made it an open source library so people can integrate it into their apps, into their chat apps, you know. Hey, you got an image. It's blurred out right now because we're 96% sure it's not good. If you don't know, you know, a super cool guy at 420, then don't unblur this image, right? And so this is a great service. So this is open source. It costs us nothing because it's in JavaScript. So now you can go add this to, people have added to Discord servers, people have added to conference stuff, people have added it to all kinds of, well, one person made a Chrome plugin. So it's really cool because this is open source and it's just done, and now you're downloading the model and then you can use this and get that kind of information if you need it. So it doesn't cost me anything to continue running this because it's not server-side. And all that information comes in and runs in a 4 megabyte model. I know, ooh. In web, if you say 4 megabytes, people lose their minds. So yeah, a little 4 megabyte model that's 93% accurate. And you know, just use it smartly. I'll say, for instance, one great thing that you'll see for Nextdoor is when you're about to post something, one thing they'll say is, hey, the text you just sent is pretty bad. Are you sure you want to send that text? And then you have to say, yes, I override you, Nextdoor.com. I want to say this to my neighbor because I hate them and they will not get rid of that chicken farm in their backyard. So you can go ahead and still send, you can override it, but it's cool because the system's there. And so it makes some allotment for the mistakes that are actually happening. And then so, you know, you've got these other kinds of things. Think about, imagine if you did this for like a makeup website where people could virtually try on makeup and then get professional makeup without going to the mall. That's those things that are everywhere in Atlanta. Without going there and getting someone putting makeup on you, and then you want to try on a totally different look, you have to start all over again. You're trying makeup on immediately. This is something we did for a client, and it was really cool, and they gave me the A-OK that we could actually show this. My favorite part about this part of the project is Leon was working on it real late at night, and he would do pull requests with this kind of stuff in it. He looks fantastic. Ooh, Leon. I love this so much. I asked Leon if it's okay if I share this, and he said yes. So this is another cool thing that we did. So how does this stuff kind of like work out? Is it fast? Is it practical? Well, I have a demo, and of course, the demo may or may not work. That's my favorite part about all these things. Why not do a demo? So I would love for all of you, if you have your phone or your laptop, any chance that you can, if you'd like to play along, I can promise to you the model that's going to be run will be run on your phone. Your face will not be collected, none of the images. No images go across the wire because I send a model to your device. So if you could pull out your phone and go to enjoyingthe.show/room/Gant. I should always test this before I do a talk, but I didn't. So let's see if it works, right? So you can go to enjoyingthe.show, and then when it says, what room do you want to join, you can type in Gant as well. So when you all have that set, what that will do is it'll ask for access to your camera, and you will just say, yes, you can have access to my camera. And like I said, it's not actually taking any pictures of your face and sending that over the wire. It is looking at your face locally. Okay, so you have it. And is anybody in there right now? Is it see you? Everything? I see at least one person says yes. So let me go on my side over here. Oh, good. Now I have a conglomerate of, there's 43 people who've loaded this up. Good. And then so I can see everybody's here. One thing I got to worry about with this is every time I open this tab and I leave and I come back, it like grabs a ton of data from back in the day. So I don't know if I should refresh or not. It might ruin it. Can everybody just, oh, good, there, it's loading up, getting all this information. So I can tell, this was a cool idea for virtual conferences, right? For virtual conferences, y'all are getting happier. I'm so happy about it. Good, good. I'm happy that who's angry in this thing, right? Like who's staring at their phone like, oh, this is so hard. Appreciate it. But yeah, so like imagine you're giving a virtual conference and you just want to know how your stuff's hitting and you can't look out into the audience. You can actually just go ahead and see how many people are there, 56, 57, et cetera, people like that. And then you can see the faces. And then on your phones yourself, you can actually see how you're doing and all that stuff. So you can try to make a different facial expression. Who's sad in the audience? It might make you some fun. But it's a really cool initiative, right? So here we are seeing all the different things. So what's happening is your face is getting determined by the model directly on your phone, and then it's sending just the string of how you're doing is being sent over the wire and being, aggregated into a pie chart. That's it. None of your faces are actually coming across the wire. That'd be way too much. Your machines are doing the hard work. I'm just showing a pie chart. And so enjoying the show is a cool thing. You feel free to use it. It is built with Amplify, React, and TensorFlow.js. It's open source, and the code is absolute trash. I will warn you right now. I cut every corner building this code, but it's really cool. So you've got all this kind of set up. But isn't that a great idea? Like, I mean, if you've got this kind of privacy and efficiency that's going on with this. I see people closing out, so I'll just kind of go ahead and close this out over here. And you can go to enjoying the show anytime you want and start a room and close a room. What I will say is that if you leave that tab open, it has to do a little bit of catching up after a while, so be careful if you're not doing it actively with a person. So here you could watch a room or join a room. This is free and open source. It's really fun. Just doing it with my team. This is me making everybody smile and not smile at the same time in the animated GIF down there, so good job on the surprise faces, everybody. Okay, good. But that's a really kind of fun idea. And what I think that does is that shows the principle of some of the things that people aren't even really thinking about yet. The products that are going to come out over the next 5 years with the advancements in AI are going to be mind-boggling. When I first started talking about AI, it was wild how I was like, these things are going to come in, and the stuff that came in has been even like weirder and crazier, and we just sort of start to accept it as a society. Like, of course, that's going to happen that way. Of course, that works that way. But we're going to see more and more features coming through. So I've built lots of apps in both React and React Native that utilize all this kinds of stuff, and I've seen the same thing over safe4workjs.com. We saw that one. It has to read an image. Okay. I did this thing called AI Sorting Hat, read an image. nickornot.com, read an image. Blight Camera, reading webcam. Rock, paper, scissors, reading a webcam. Time Warp Scan Me, read a webcam. Enjoying the show, read a webcam. Adding masks, read an image. And then Dicefy, read an image. So constantly, what we're seeing with AI is that it needs to consume data and then process it and work with you. And the thing is, there's not like generalized libraries for taking that stuff and handing it over to AI and then getting it back. It's almost like a lot of the work right there, there's still this missing bridge between a good web developer, a good AI model, and then making the two talk to one another. So basically, I had to rewrite the same code several times on each project. And I find that that's a little bit of an annoying thing. And one of the things, like, we've come so far from here. This was a joke, I think, like 2014 or something like that, talking about how difficult it would be to identify if there's a bird in a photo or something like that. Okay, I need a research team in 5 years. But here we are. What I'm going to show you today, we're going to blow that away. Like, this joke was great when it happened, but whew, the stuff we're going to make in a little bit. So generally, this was me every single project that had AI in it. It was just kind of like connecting the two dots that was always the hardest part there. So I came up with this idea that we started to use on one of our client projects, and then actually a good friend of mine, Hal9, is continuing the project on and adding that so they can go there, where it brings React closer across that bridge into tying in with AI and AI models, okay? Because there's a whole bunch of models out there, and there's only going to be more. There's more things that AI can do. Identify things for sentiment analysis. Identify if things are safe for work or not. Identify if this, identify if that. Look at this. Is this person happy? Is this person like your product? You've got to aggregate all this data and kind of figure that out. And so why aren't there components that are already expecting, give me the AI thing, give me the other thing, and let me kind of merge those together? And that's what the idea behind AI Lab is. Now, AI Lab is something that was made for that client, but I'm looking forward to Hal9 kind of adding more and more features, and it's open source, so obviously I think it would be really cool if anybody had a project and you're like, okay, well, I'll start with AI Lab and I'll contribute back to that. And that way it would help out a bit. So how do you use it? Let's go ahead and let's do some coding right now, right? Let's go ahead and see how that kind of goes together. And the demo worked, so now that means the code has to break. I think that's the rules that kind of happen here. So let me show you what AI Lab looks like on here. So you have the AI Lab set up, and it's for identifying content. So you hook up different models that have different kinds of features to it, and it knows how to read those and give it back to you in a simple and component form way. So you've got this, you've got the model that's out there. There's a whole bunch of free ones, and then we hook that up to a React component, and then magic happens. Let's try it. Let's try it. Let's actually do a little bit of this. So what I'm going to do here is I have a project here. And I'm going to start this project. And that's going to load up a wonderful little website right here. And the project says, okay, we're detecting a person's security cam, loading, and it is loading the model right now. Now this is the part where everybody goes, oh my God, I can't believe how long that took. But now it's done. It already loaded a model up. So let's go ahead and take a look at this code that I have right here. And this will explain it. So in app start, where we are now, I'm going to make the code much bigger. I'm going to size this down. Let's get that smaller. Okay. All right, everybody here, raise your hand if you don't know React. Good. Okay, good. All right. I didn't want to have to go too basic on any of these things. So this would be very readable, and you can make fun of my React skills at the same time. So all I have here is I am loading this giant model here. And when it's ready, I just simply say, okay, it's loaded, and I put it in this the use state. And then I say, okay, we switch over to let's go. That means the model has loaded. So this is something that's out there. This model that I'm loading here is a MobileNet model provided by Google. If you go to thefhub.dev, there are tons and tons of cool features to go pick from. They have tons of neat stuff, okay? So I was thinking, like, detecting the bird in the photo is a hard thing. What if we try to go ahead and detect a person? That sounds fun. So what I did here, and this is where we don't actually live code, I have the steps that we're going to go through in this presentation. So you just saw, does anybody have any questions? Nothing should be confusing here. I'm loading the model, and I have nothing to do with it yet. I have no ability to use it in React yet. It's just being loaded. Good. I'm seeing nodding heads. Good. If I left you behind with that React code, we're all in trouble, okay? So now we're going to go to detect a person. Okay, so I want to go to the top of this, and I want you to see I have total people that I'm going to set. So I'm not only going to detect a person, I want to detect how many people are in this photo. And so here we are learning the same model. And then if I'm going to go down here to this components down here, you can see it's the same exact thing, loading and then let's go, but let's go has been replaced by one component called an AI Lab local video. Because I'm not just going to find it in a photo, I'm going to find it actively in a video. So that'll make it even more fun because it should be happening really fast. So for the model I'm passing in, I'm telling it that model. For the configuration, I'm giving it this model-specific configuration. You have to know the model you're loading in, and you have to know the configurations that go for those. That's totally okay. Like, there's suggested parameters for these. I will talk you through these. If you don't understand it, I definitely talk you through it. But this code's pretty simple. I'm configuring it. And then on inference, I'm calling check results. Now, this model I'm grabbing from Google can detect like 1,000 different things. Okay? I don't want it to detect everything. So you see down here I have a filter, only detect people, and those people are in category 0. 0 is a person. And so I say, okay, let's do this. So, and the performance, I have just simple reporting on the performance here. Does anybody have a confusion on this component or the parameters that I just passed to that component? Is there anything on there that's like, why are you doing this? Why are you doing that? One thing I'll say right here is I do have the total people is adjusting how the background color is. So anytime more than 0 people are detected, I have the background turning red. Okay, so I do have that set there. My computer's like actually like going super slow, so it must be like leaking memory from 15 things. Let me close everything else. So I'm going to go ahead and change this out to app detect person. So we're going to move forward in time. App detect person. Okay. So now I've moved this over to here. You can see a little video is loading, and we're set. So it looks like everything's ready. I'm going to hit play, and there we go. We got the person. We've got the bounding box for the person. And then you can see that when the person count went down below 0, that it immediately went back to no longer red. So what I just wrote in that line of code, in that one component, is a security camera. You hook that up to Twilio, you put it in your office, you're set. Instead of using UI local video for AI Lab, use AI Lab webcam component, same exact everything. You filter for people, or you know what? You don't want your pets inside your office, right? So they shouldn't be in there after certain hours. Change the filter to detect cats, dogs, whatever. And then when those critters go in there, you could put this in front of your house and see when that crazy, weird animal that comes and eats all the food and destroys your garbage is showing up. You could do all this stuff. All that code just became available. You're just changing the filter of what the model should actually activate on. And instead of changing the background red, it could send you a text message. It could go ahead and turn on your sprinkler. I don't know, like, get creative here. Like, the number of features that'll get you on the news are they're there. So, and one thing I want you to see here, the drawing time down here. So I set performance equal true. So I gotta keep spinning past the, I guess keep saying, show me! Okay, so what happens here is every time we get to this, one of the things, wow, this is like, my editor's angry at me. I need to reload it or something. I don't understand why this thing's having such a problem over here, so hopefully that won't be too much of an issue. Get an M1, they said. It'll be fast, they said. Okay, so now I can't even scroll anymore. I'll find out what's pegging out the CPU here in a second, but something in the editor's gone crazy. So if you were to go ahead and get this code set up, you see that all I'm doing right now is just change it red. So I want to go ahead and I want to do another idea here. How complicated is it? Let's say you're running an Airbnb and you have 5 people who are, Jesus. Whoa. It's no memory leaks whatsoever, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know what's happening there. So one of the things that I'll say is, like, let's say you're running an Airbnb and you're only supposed to have 4 people or something like that. And then let's say you go to your Airbnb and then suddenly you have like a detector and it's like, hey, we've detected 20 people. You might be like, oh, okay. Now, having a webcam would be invasive, but there are lots of devices that like listen for parties and use AI and use all kinds of other things. So my idea here is like, let's just count the number of people and start getting frustrated if we have like way too many people. Okay, we're just gonna reload everything now? Sure, why not? That code, it's me. Good, forget all my tabs, thank you. All right, we're gonna get back to this hopefully in a second here. Yeah, my slides, thanks. All right, so let me rerun the app here. And what I'm going to do now is we're going to go over this code here. Let's see if this works well. Detect per people. Okay, so now what I'm trying to do is I want to go ahead and instead of detecting more than one person, I'm just changing the code here to say, all right, give me when I have more than 3 people. Go ahead and change the background color to red. And that's all I changed. That's not a significant amount of code change. Okay, now I've got a brand new product that's coming through. So I'm going to change this to detect people. And we can just kind of look at that code to make sure that I didn't pull any weird magic stuff here, right? No, we still got everything going. I changed the video, and I just changed the number of people, okay? So now if I come over here, counting people. So let's see what happens here. I have it when it's 4 people, it should be upset. So if we look here, good, good. Oh no! They're throwing a party at my Airbnb! And you can see here we're having frames per second, 30 frames per second, drawing time 10 milliseconds. And you did see some flickering that happens there. That's a limitation of the model, because the model has trouble when people are on top of people, not understanding that that's two different people, it gets to a certain point. So if you watch here, let's kind of go through here. Pausing there, you can see at the top it says counting 2 people. And then when they cross over each other, you see it went to 4 for a second, then 3. And it has a little problem. So that's correct. That is 4 people. It should be angry. And at that point, yeah, it's actually not doing too bad. But you can see like it's putting one bounding box around that. To fix that, you could easily have multiple cameras. You could do all things. These are sort of the ideas that when you go to production, you're going to have to come up with solutions for it. You want to see from multiple angles and then maybe take the average of all of them or something like that. But it's pretty cool. So you can see now it sees all the people. And then when it drops down to 3, it kind of goes back to that. So this is a different video that goes there. So the last piece I want to do of this is that I want to show you that you not only get those bounding boxes, which I turned on, but there's a whole bunch of other models that can support. But there's another thing I want to show you. That's the fact that you could dig into the details of every single detection and get real smart. For instance, let's say that you had a part of your room nobody's allowed to go into, right? And then so you want to detect people, but the camera sees a bunch of stuff, and you only want to get upset when they get on that side of the room. So the code for that I have ready for us as well. Is anybody not understanding any of this? Super easy, right? That's the best part about it, is that we have this component here. And now I'm going to go ahead and go to this one. It's just a different video, same exact configuration, same everything. But up here, when I get the information, what I'm doing is I'm detecting where the person is and seeing if they're on the bad spot, if they're on the wrong side of the room. And the wrong side of the room is anywhere on the other half, okay? I've made it half the room is off limits. Okay, half the room is off limits. If so, then they are in the bad spot. They become danger people. Danger people more than 0. We're going to go ahead and we're going to say turn red. So let's go ahead. That's app complete. Let's see this one as a demo here. Okay, we're going to go to over here. Change this to app complete. And the amount of code I've written here, by the way, oh dear God, where am I? Okay, the amount of code I've written here is pretty simple. I'm asking for the details that come through from the result. And inside the details, I want to get the boxes, and I want to check the third point of the box to see if it's greater than halfway point. That's the code right there. The boxes that you give me, I can choose all the different points of that box. I want to choose 0.3 and see, which I think is going to be the foot on that side, and see if it crosses that line. So let's go ahead and let's see this one in action. Go over here. I put a red line down the middle to go ahead and help us out. That's a 50%. That's just a CSS red line that's been laid over it. And then here we go. Don't you dare. Good girl. That's it. Oh, come on. And so there you go. You can watch it over and over again. If you watch real carefully, like I said, it's 0.3 that happens. So right here, where a foot goes over the line is when the alarm goes off. You can code this however you'd like. But perhaps you don't want somebody pulling your door handles late at night, right? You don't want somebody coming along and grabbing your car. So you can say detect the car, detect the person. If it's after midnight, if a person's close to my car, again, turn on the sprinklers. Or set the alarm bells off. And you could write this or do a tweet, grab an image, do whatever you can. You are React developers. That is your creativity. And that's what I think is the really cool part, because PhD people who are working on these things don't come up with those cool ideas and make fun little websites with one component in just a moment to go ahead and share and help people. One thing that I did, and it blew the city of New Orleans away, is that we made a blight camera. The blight camera was to identify there was some spot where people were dumping different things on that spot. So I made this one blight camera that detects when a vehicle goes onto that property, and then they're going to take all the stuff out the back of their truck and dump it on that land and then drive off. And so Blight Cam was like a cool thing that we did for like a civic hackathon. It was a 24-hour hackathon. I had the thing done in like 20 minutes. So it was just like, now what do you want it to do when someone does this? And so it's a really cool idea. But you could come up with that kind of concept, but that's the things that cities and companies and products really think is amazing, but they just haven't thought of that yet because they don't know how easy or how possible these things are using models that already exist out there. This has just been one model that detects the location of 1,000 different things. Tells you if it sees it, tells you where it sees it in there. And I've just done it 3 different times to make 3 different examples with just a little bit of code. but there's so many different styles of things that you could be making with this. So we have our person, and thank you so much, little girl, for doing that. This is, by the way, these demos, I have them all open source for you if you'd like to go ahead and try that. You can start making something tomorrow with any of that stuff. So, and the final code there, like I said, not too complicated. Everybody follows along, this AI lab. We have this one component, and it's basically just telling it what it sees inside this video. You could just tell it to look at a video, you could tell it to look at a picture, you could tell it to go ahead and look at a webcam. So I did get permission from the client that we did this for to go ahead and show you what we originally started making this for. And so I can show you this. This is me. So I had to verify, we were trying to see how many squats a person was doing. They had different exercises that they needed to do, and there's different angles that you could be in and different aspects that were there. And so they paid for me to go ahead and be all messy. And this is the demo that we made for them that handed off to Hal9, who is still working with that client today. So if you want to go ahead and do like a workout program, and there's tons and tons of money behind people doing AI for workouts and things like that. And so it was good. That startup, this helped them actually get funded. This demo that we did, the research and development to do this, helped them get funded to go ahead and go on and continue to do more stuff. And that was done with AI Lab. Let me get to, go ahead, give me a question. That sounds. This one's called Blaze Pose. Blaze Pose does a 3D model of what's being identified there. And the great thing about the 3D model is you notice I'm not always facing the camera. And so the 3D model actually takes it, and then we renormalize it in 3D space, which allows me to do the same exact motion in different 3D pose spaces, and to identify that I'm still doing a squat. Great question. Yeah, that Blaze Pose, great model, 100% free, probably a multi-million-dollar model, and Google just releases it. Thank you, Google. I appreciate it. I feel bad for everybody who just put out a business by giving that away for free. But there's plenty of free, amazing models that are out there. Really cool stuff. So I would definitely say check that out. So I'd say what's next to this is that we particularly, we're building React Native apps. We build features that kind of come in. We build things that are necessary. Active development on AI Lab is now to the same point that we would do for Not Safe for Work.js. It's maintenance, it's friendly, it's helpful. If we have another client come along that we accept, we'll continue super advancement on it. But Hal9's doing the advancement on it. And so what I think is like, if someone has a company and they're looking to do some serious advancement, like, hey, does it work with this model? No. Do you want it to? Great. Like, add that feature in so everybody starts getting that kind of access. Because it works with several models right now, but it could work with so many more. And I think it would be really cool to just continue to add those simple adapters between the two, the examples there, right? And you don't have to rewrite rewrite the Access webcam code that I've written, oh my goodness, 4 or 5 times now for different projects. So I think that one of the cool things I think would be really great is if you just toyed with it, tried it, throw it in a project, let your computer crash in front of everybody for no reason. That would be really fun. So I told you I'd end up here a little bit early. I do want to kind of come back. So I do want to make sure I have some time on the side for questions, meeting you, interacting with you, hearing your ideas. I have so many ideas for React Native apps and so many ideas for AI apps. I don't have enough time. I only get to build a few things a year, and it's super fun. So what I really want to do is hear what your ideas are and help you make it. I have done this already. There are people who came to me with ideas, and we went full on all the way into them making really cool and interesting stuff. I would mention it, but it was extremely political and hilarious. So I do not bring politics to conferences for good reason. It's a day to vote, though. Everybody voted, right? Vote. Good. Okay. But really cool and interesting things. And if you come to the side, I'll tell you what it was if you want to. It's really fun. So now here's the part where I want to go ahead and give away 2 of the copies of the book, okay? So we'll go ahead and get that set. Everybody tweeted? Any last second tweeters? Everybody set there? Okay. So I'm going to bring this in here. Ta-da-da. Let's see. Thanks for the whoop whoop, Tracy. I love it. Let's go with, let's see. Z Rustic? Yeah, come on up here, Z Rustic, yeah. Woo! Now, which one do you want? Yeah, this one? There you go, very nice. All right, now one more, let's see here. Scroll down or scroll up? Scroll down or scroll up? Let's go with, oh, I like this one. Paul Kim? Yeah, all right. There you go. Absolutely. Enjoy, man. You got it, absolutely. Look, it's a real fun book, y'all. I hope that y'all like it a lot. It teaches you as like a web, there's no React inside the book. It's all vanilla JavaScript for obvious reasons. I didn't want to particularly just shun away Vue or Angular developers for no reason. But applying it, like all the concepts are in there. The AI lab that you saw today is specifically React and hopefully React Native at some point, depending on what clients need that kind of work done. So it'd be a good plan. Definitely check that out for sure. I just, this one other piece I want to say is like, I get to work on open source. I get to do all these kinds of things, and I get to go to these conferences. I just want to say, if you need to know anything about React Native, come talk to me about React Native. Come talk to the company about React Native. It's super fun, and it's a great idea. And then our conference is coming up soon. Thanks so much to Infinite Red for doing that stuff. And then I'm happy to meet you, talk about all these different things. And thank you so much.